Now in its second year, the Camp Quality Convoy Adelaide is all about local truckies banding together and raising money for an incredibly worthy cause, helping children diagnosed with cancer by bringing joy to their lives through their various programs, as well as supporting their siblings and parents, who also have to see their beloved family member enduring the cancer diagnosis, as well as the sometimes brutal and lengthy chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery that follows. For the drivers of the Gilman-based transport company Simons & Clark Logistics, their preparations for the 2025 Camp Quality Convoy Adelaide started on Saturday, the afternoon before the big day. Despite the looming threat of wild weather conditions for the event, which thankfully held off until the next day, many of the participating drivers were busy washing, scrubbing and polishing their rigs in the afternoon, some after a full day of work. One of these drivers was Scott Hemsley, a great guy who I see regularly while shooting my truck spotting episodes around Port Adelaide, cutting a variety of loads in his Western Star. After a 6:15am start, taking oversized steel beams to the Torrens to Darlington Expressway project site that morning, a weary Scott spent several hours tidying up his truck at the end of his workday, before heading back home for an all too brief period of rest as the sun sank lower in the sky, with his shiny Western Star safely parked under cover, along with a couple of Freightliners and Kenworths. As the clock hit 5pm, fellow truck driver Kat was busy at the yard's wash bay, hosing down her Kenworth T610 SAR Prime Mover, giving the metal and chrome a wash and polish, with help from dedicated bestie Bella, who was on the bonnet thoroughly shining up the windscreen visor. While currently studying for a childcare degree, Bella is keen to drive trucks herself one day. While some Simons & Clark drivers have a regular truck that they work with, Kat's usual rig was borrowed by another driver earlier in the day, resulting in an unexpected round of further cleaning.
Found out they sent it out for somebody else to use on a job today because they needed it, and I was like, are you kidding me?
After getting the truck looking its best again, Kat started up the engine, rolling the SAR out of the wash bay and parking up undercover with the other trucks, before both girls headed home to prepare for an 18th birthday party that night. With the yard quiet again, I headed back home myself as the sun continued its trip below the horizon. It was an early start for everyone involved on the Sunday morning. I woke up about 4:45am, and after getting some of my gear organised, turned up to a bustling Simons & Clark yard around 5:30am. The company's drivers, their partners, friends and kids spent the time casually milling around the yard, chatting and checking out the various trucks, taking some photos and videos with their phones, making sure the trucks were ready to go, as well as checking out the instructions en route for the cruise. With a fleet of 17 of their trucks entered, the Simons & Clark team were able to raise a total of $9,292 for the cause, qualifying them as a silver sponsor, greatly surpassing their $1,000 goal, and putting them in 6th place overall on the Camp Quality website's company leaderboard. The final lineup for the convoy included 4 Kenworth T909s, 3 T610 SARs, lone T409 and T408 SARs, a Cab Over K108, 2 Freightliner Argosies, a Coronado and a Columbia, 1 Western Star 4800, an MEN, and the most unique rig in the set, a fully electric Mack Trident. In addition to Scott and Kat, the other drivers behind the wheels of the rigs included Adam, Andrew, Barry, Bob, Bryce, Cameron, Clinton, Hayden, Jamie, Kevin, Chris, Matthew, Nathan, Paige, Scott White, Tom, and Woody. Led by Hayden in the special tribute Kenworth T909 Lorraine, the fleet made their way out of the yard at 6am sharp, heading over as a group to the event HQ at Victoria Park, at the eastern edge of the Adelaide CBD. After making their way through the western suburbs, orange beacons flashing, the Simons & Clark crew lined up along Decateville Terrace, with the lead T909 heading through the entry gates at 6:36am, snaking through the open parklands to the entry tent in the soft pre-dawn light. Once at the tent, drivers were warmly greeted and quickly handed their official convoy signs and a set of cable ties, before being directed into the main staging area by a number of convoy workers, ensuring the trucks were all lined up and spaced correctly for easy inspection and viewing, and well positioned for a smooth and orderly exit in a couple of hours. Once parked up, the Simons and Clark drivers were kept busy fiddling with the core flute signs and cable ties, attaching them to bull bars and grills. Kenworth's T48 driver Nathan Dolphin also added a couple of Kenworth plushies to his bonnet, as well as dressing his daughter Emery in a wildly oversized high-vis jacket where, for obvious reasons, Nathan refers to her as being a walking traffic cone. Meanwhile, more participants kept rolling in, waved into position by a lovely group of volunteers with glowing red batons. The impressive and varied Dennis transport fleet took their places behind the Simons and Clark trucks at 7:10, with the K108 driver giving his windscreen a quick clean before descending via the bull bar. Then came the arrival of some of the dialer tow heavy tow truck crew, pulling up with headlights on and orange lights ablaze. At around 7:30, some of the stunning Collins Adelaide rigs rolled in as the sun began to pop up over the hills and nearby buildings, lighting up the polished chrome and their distinctive green paintwork. Trucks continued to arrive at Victoria Park as the sun rose, including some of the Hallett Group trucks, led by 4 of their distinctive tri-axle Kenworth T659s, followed by 5 Kenworth T610 twin-steer tippers. Once all 165 trucks were parked up and ready to go for the convoy, it was time for the fun to begin, with everyone then able to check out the many millions of dollars worth of rigs, with the added entertainment of a couple of people in inflatable dinosaur costumes running around, and convoy merchandise available for purchase from the tent. In pole position for the display, and fresh out of the workshop, was Craig Arthur Transport's new Kenworth T909, painted in a retro colour scheme to match the old Quick-as-Air livery, followed by Collins Adelaide T909, and in third place a Bonetti Transport Scania R620, with the leading individuals respectively raising over $53,000, $34,000 and $12,000 for the event. Amongst the crowds of people, I met up again with Kat and Bella, who were both looking much less greasy than the day before. I jumped into the quiet cab of Kat's T610 SAR for a quick chat about her experiences as a truck driver.
I'm Katrina, I'm 29 years old. Driving one of Simo's 610 SARs. I've been driving for 10 years now. I started when I was 19 in New South Wales, doing some of the road upgrades for Pacific Highway and fell in love with it. I started in a HR in a concrete truck, and right now I'm doing truck and dogs, delivering the aggregate for the concrete trucks. Back in Adelaide now, but I've done interstate and mine work all over the country.
Okay, so which mines where you worked at?
I did Roxby for a while, and I've done interstate in every state except Northern Territory now.
Okay, and do you have any runs that you sort of like best?
I used to love doing Brisbane, Adelaide, Adelaide, Melbourne, Melbourne, Brisbane. That was my favourite run. That was good fun, and I got to meet a lot of really nice truck drivers doing that run. Being a girl, I suppose you have a few more obstacles that you have to get past and deal with and put up with, but most of the time the boys are pretty good.
Yes, and so what truck did you get your licence in?
I got my licence just in an auto HR, and then when I did my heavy combination, I did that in a crash box, and then 2 years later I did my multi combination, and I just did that one in an auto because I already had the crash box.
Yeah, so what's the crash box for those who don't know?
18 speed.
Yeah, so what do you prefer now? Do you like the autos or manuals?
I prefer manuals on the highway, locally, autos all the way.
Yeah, I found out got a Pajero now. It's the first automatic I've ever owned, but yeah, it's good in
Yeah.
in busy traffic. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, if you drive a crash box in the city doing local, you get a very sore leg by the end of the day. They are they take a lot of leg power every time you start and stop. Most people don't use the actual clutch to change the gears through the drive, but starting and stopping you have to, and they are a heavy duty clutch.
Just after 8 am, our conversation was cut short as it was time for the driver briefing. Walking over to the main stage, a taut-liner trailer with a side curtain removed, the event organisers welcomed the participants and companies attending, thanking them for their support and giving some guidelines in regards to the timetable, driving route and conduct. The convoy was aiming to leave by 9, with the lead truck intended to return to Victoria Park after 90 minutes on the road. The City of Adelaide Lions Club were kept busy serving up barbecue fare to hungry patrons, with a steady lineup for the coffee vans as well, with the temperature still being a little brisk despite the sunshine. At 8:49, the lead trucks were waved through to the official start line by the convoy manager, forming up behind the Camp Quality RAV4 and heading out onto Tuckerville Terrace, starting with Platinum sponsor Craig Arthur Transport's fleet. Placed roughly in the middle of the pack, the Simons and Clark crew passed by, with constant blasts of air horns punishing the eardrums of everyone nearby, with some well-prepared parents bringing earmuffs to their little ones. Waiting on the sidelines was the special Volvo Convoy VIP bus, filled with families and children affected by cancer, slipping in partway through so the kids could enjoy cruising around the city in the middle of all the big rigs. At 9:20 am, the last truck in the procession, a Hallett Kenworth T610 tipper, exited the parklands onto Tuckerville Terrace, starting the 36-kilometre loop around the CBD and some of the western suburbs of Adelaide. While the Department of Transport control room had extended the green traffic light timings to help the convoy stay together, there was the odd brief split between groups, but the constant horn blasts from the trucks left no doubt for the many spectators as to when the next bunch of trucks would be passing by. Starting with the lead T909 at 9:47, they came through in batches, mixing it up with regular traffic on the busy road, with some of the Simons and Clark rigs assisted by a participating Scania fire truck, with the helpful firey briefly blocking the road so that group could pass by smoothly. Once the entire convoy had gone past, it was back to my Pajero, and back to the game of slowly passing by the impressive line of trucks that were taking up the left-hand lane on Grand Junction Road, before turning onto Port Road. From there, the trucks headed onto West Terrace, bordering the CBD, then turned onto Greenhill Road, followed by Fullerton Road, where I again pulled up to get footage of the convoy going past again. Everyone eventually got back into place, and then the crowds could start moving around the trucks again, with the event blessed by blue skies and warm sunshine, at odds with the threatening weather forecast earlier in the week. At midday, with the leading trucks back in formation, including the Quick as Air T909 hooked up to a matching set of B-triple taut-liner trailers, the family festival was in full swing, with the dinosaurs back partying it up, while families took some more time to check out the awesome rigs on display, The Camp Quality team also had their larger-than-life-size smiling mascot Giggle walking around the family festival, out for a meet and greet and photo opportunities with all the kids. Accompanying Giggle was local puppeteer David with his puppet Tom, who, for the purposes of their educational programs for children, has a puppet sister named Ariel, who has been diagnosed with cancer. A little after 12, before the awards presentation, the CEO of Camp Quality, Deborah Thomas, expressed her gratitude to all the convoy participants. She also further explained Camp Quality's mission to inform, as well as providing practical help and fun for the kids and families. A statement on their website says that every month 64 kids are diagnosed with cancer. For over 40 years, Camp Quality has been driving change, improving life for kids impacted by cancer and their families. Through their programs and services, they feel optimism and resilience with community, education, and fun. Camp Quality supports kids aged from 0 to 15 navigating their own cancer diagnosis or that of a sibling, parent, or carer, keeping them on track every step of the way. Last year, they reached 1 in 3 kids diagnosed with cancer. Their mission? To bring smiles to them all. She also spoke about some of the fear and confusion around cancer for young children around the subject. When asked at some of their educational school programs, some kids think they can catch cancer from someone who has it, a heart-shattering situation all round, that can lead to further isolation of a friend or classmate battling the disease. Their free programs, available on request for kids ranging in age from ELC to upper primary school, help teach children how to be a supportive friend, grandchild, son, daughter, or other family member of someone battling cancer. As well as losing several grandparents to the disease, I've unfortunately had my own personal experience with cancer back in March 2012. While I was quickly diagnosed with fairly early stage testicular cancer, and treated just with surgery to remove the tumour, followed by frequent scans and tests in the months and years afterwards, it was still a confronting and scary experience, even as a 27-year-old. It must be incredibly tough for the young kids to face it, and I can't even begin to imagine the horror and distress of the parents having to see their child suffering from the disease and the treatment side effects. I'm so glad that the Camp Quality team can be there for these families on such a tough and life-changing journey. As their name suggests, a major part of Camp Quality's respite activities include family camps and fun days. A section on the website explains how the donated money helps the children. $30,000 allows them to host a full family camp for 3 to 5 days, so around 20 kids and their families can escape the hospital environment, have some fun together, as well as connect with other people who are going through similarly difficult circumstances. $15,000 supports a family fun day for up to 25 families, providing an opportunity for some happy memories to be made, where everyone can try and forget about cancer for a little while and enjoy doing something cool like riding camels. $5,000 can fully fund a cancer education program for 4 primary schools or preschools, where kids can learn about cancer and its effects on people, perhaps none of their classmates, reducing the odds of bullying, and allowing the students to be more informed in the way they respond to the situation. In addition to these events, Camp Quality also has hospital programs, where child life therapists help support kids in their battle against cancer through some medical play techniques. They also offer in-person puppet playdates for kids in hospital on request, to give them a bit of fun and distract them for a little while, helping them to forget about where they are. Due to the sometimes harsh treatments, some children suffer from particularly compromised immune systems and need to be isolated to protect them from germs and infections. To keep these kids safe, Camp Quality has the situation covered, also providing digital puppet playdates, with an iPad video chat to connect directly with the child in the hospital bed. They also have an app available to download, The Kid's Guide to Cancer, which provides further digital resources and information. After the informative thank you speech, it was time for the award and trophy presentations. The award for highest fundraising individual and team went to Craig Arthur Transport, who managed to raise an amazing total of $54,417.
And a huge thank you to Craig Arthur for his incredible generosity and your support as our premier sponsor.
The award for Best Presented Fleet went to Collins Adelaide's collection of shiny green Kenworths, while the Best Presented Truck Trophy was awarded to Paul Jolly's Kenworth Legend SAR tipper. Some young truck show judges from the Camp Quality family's VIP bus were in charge of choosing their favourite truck for the official Kids' Choice Award, spending time walking around the rigs in their custom high-vis vests, trying to pick out their highlight of the show. After some deliberations, the young group of judges named the flashy Optimus Prime truck as the runner-up. However, in the end, they just couldn't pass up that classic childhood favourite, with the award going to Craig Kirk from the SA Metropolitan Fire Service in his bright red Scania fire truck. After the awards presentation, there was an auction for a hand-built, radio-controlled Tamiya King hauler model truck, donated by the Adelaide RC Truck Club, valued at around $2,500. The impressive prime mover was put together by Tony Versace from Adelaide RC Truck and Trailer Spares, coupled to an LPG tanker trailer, custom designed and built by Carl Schultz. After a bit of a quiet start at $1,500, the bidding then quickly jumped up from $2,000 to over $3,000, with a number of people taking part in a good-natured bidding war, launching the final price well north of the retail value.
Are we done? Are we finished? Sold! 4-1!
After the auction, Deborah then announced the running fundraising total for the event.
You have raised around $210,000, which is going to make an awesome difference to the families registered here. So I want to do a hip hip, hip hip, hip hip.
At 1 PM, the event officially concluded and the movement curfew was lifted so trucks were allowed to leave. The coolest exit went to lead sponsor Craig Arthur Transport, with their Quick as Air themed T909 turning out of the lineup temporarily as a B-triple road train, which is then broken up further down the Parkland track. After a long, tiring but rewarding day, the Simon Supply crew headed back to their base at Gilman, parking some of the rigs back in their usual spots, and removing the convoy signs, with at least one driver starting work again before dawn the next morning. Exhausted myself after a full day of activity and an early morning, I headed home as well. A couple of weeks after the event, the Camp Quality team announced their final total of all funds raised for the 2025 Convoy Adelaide, a whopping $221,680, obliterating their target of $175,000, as well as the previous year's total of $140,000. As I write this, according to the website, further donations have bumped up the figure to $225,623. All the money raised specifically goes towards supporting South Australian families affected by cancer. As well as the Adelaide convoy, Camp Quality is organising the event for a few other locations, with the next convoy planned to take place in Perth, Western Australia on October 12, 2025. You can also just donate to the Camp Quality Convoy Fund in general at any time. Please check out the link to the website in the description and comments for more details about how your donation can make a positive impact on these kids and their families. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode of Talking Trucks Australia.